Hi, I'm Sandy and welcome to Sandy's Numerology. Today I'm going to be looking at Donald John Trump and the United States of America. First of all, to unpack Donald Trump, he is first of all arrogant. He knows better than everybody else. He's about power and he likes to have power over people. He's got in his trump is where his defiance is. So when you tell him not to do something, he'll just go ahead and do it. But that's where his fame sits. And so that shows you about how he would be out in the public eye. He has got 555s. So he doesn't always tell the truth. Basically, it's the number 4 being telling BS, being a con. And he is pretty much a handshake deal guy, and he doesn't always follow through. He will kind of change the goalposts and say, well, what I actually said was, and that you misinterpreted what I said. But he's independent, he's self-driven. He's a leader, not a follower. Now, he's born in the month of June, so his birth date is the 14th of June, 1946. He's born in the month of June, and this is where he doesn't think before he speaks. He is a reactionary person, and he's got his famous finger that he uses all the time, where he is very finger-pointing and blaming. He's not a person who takes responsibility. He has the ability to make sure that even if you are looking at him in what he is saying, he'll get you to look elsewhere. So he's famous for getting you to look at what Obama did or didn't do well, and how he will do better than everybody else. And he's signed new laws in more than any other president, which I hear that actually that's not true. But then again, a lot of things about him is because he's born on the 14th and he's got a 4 life path. He doesn't have his facts, and he is a person who doesn't pay attention to detail. Because he's born in the month of June, his concentration in reading things is not always there. Much better at ad-libbing, which is to his detriment. But this 4 life path is one of the hardest life paths because it has the word depression. And this is the real stuff. This is where there's many people saying, I'm depressed, and actually they wouldn't even know what depression is, because you wouldn't even know that he suffers from it, because he is very closed. And for him to open up is very difficult. But when he does, because he's born in the month of June, he explodes. He's got double hidden 11s, which is exactly like America. America's born on the 4th of July, 1776, and they've also got double hidden 11s. So that brings him in line with America. And this is what happens in relationships when you meet your partner, or when you join a company, or when you become somebody who's in power in government, is that generally your numbers will attract the numbers of the country. But this 11 is how he would affect the masses. And let's face it, with all his hotels alone and his golf courses, is how he's affected the masses. And he is a person who is incredibly unstable. He actually destabilizes not only the people and the masses around him, but he destabilizes himself. His footing is not on the ground. But this 11 is exactly what America has in their numbers, and the most important thing is what they are meant to do with these 11s is what Obama did, because he had an 11 life path, is how do I reach out? How do I tell you this is what I need and ask you what your needs are? And how can we then take this 11, which is double ones which adds to it too, and how can we form a partnership? So with Obama, he put out a hand to Cuba, he put out a hand to Iran, and he said, right, these are my needs, what are yours? And all Donald Trump is threatening and breaking the ties, breaking the partnerships. Obama, with his 11 life path, put out the Obamacare. So he would affect the masses, and in 11 will always lift the masses and make people feel better about themselves, where Donald Trump is threatening to actually take that away. Bar the fact that Donald Trump is also a racist. He says that he's not, but he is. His 11s is the healer. I don't know, he's so far from the healer. And then the 11s is also all of the platforms. And he's obviously, we know he's famous for his tweets. But his 4 life path is his lack of attention to detail, which is all about the word accounting, and it's also about his lack of accountability. Donald Trump having this depression, but also because of what he's got in his birth date, is that he's got some health issues. First of all, there's a kind of a mental thing because of also the depression, where he goes into lockdown. But the mental thing can actually lead to where he has inabilities, and this can be because of a heart problem, and I would be looking at calcification of arteries. I'd also be looking at his ankles, knees and hips is also going to be quite an issue for him. But heart is a big thing, and of course he is not exactly the healthiest of eaters. And that is his cholesterol and his weight. He is currently, let me go back to 2016, when he was out on the campaign. He was in an 11-7 year, which puts him out with the masses with the 11, and his 7 is in the public eye. Then he gets appointed as president, and the year that he is currently in is in a 3-8. And interesting that because they've both got the same hidden numbers, he is on track with America. But he's on track personally because America is currently in a 3-year until July of 2018, and Donald Trump in a 3 personal year until June of 2018. So Donald Trump in 2018, he will turn 72, and he will be in his life path year, which is a 4, which is the depression year, and everything around him, we go to his monetary thing, his paperwork thing, the downsizing and the cleaning out and the clearing out and the sorting out. And one thing about Donald Trump is he doesn't do his paperwork. He thinks it's beneath him. He gets other people to do it. And this is telling you that there's something really wrong around there, because at 72 and 73, and even to 74, there's going to be a lot of exposés about him on the personal front. And I'll go insofar as to say that his accounting and his taxes will be exposed. I think that there will be certain charges that will be laid against him. And this, I'm going to go broad on this because it's from sexual harassment, finances, taxes, from things in foreign countries where his money is. I don't think that he probably knows everything that he owns, or has that been shifted and changed, etc. There's always the potential of human error and a lot of delays in getting this sorted out. But 72 is a major, major health issue for him. But there's also the passing of people around him. And they're around him, so I don't want to identify that it's going to be somebody personal to him. But I do believe that there's going to be some kind of lockdown on him, because his age is 72, which means he's going to go a lot quieter on the Twitter. And he's going to be a lot more of a thinking man. But 73 is his year of fortune, and again, he's right out there as me, myself, and I, and this is where his money sits, where his fortune sits. But because he's got this 5 personal here, it's going to expose things about his fortune, and the tax man is definitely after him. There's no doubt about it. I believe that if he was up to date, there would be some kind of refunds for him. But I believe that by the time he turns 74 is going to be an even harder year. So the gauge from 72 starts 2 months before. So let's start in April, around the 14th of April. His turning point is always the 14th of December. And by the 14th of December in 2018, there is a whole change happening on his home front. A lot of difficulties. I think that there's even going to be exposés. People around him on the home front are going to be talking and exposing, only because he's probably going to shift blame to maybe the son-in-law, for example, etc. But Donald Trump is going to have, at 72 and definitely at 74, 2 of his worst years publicly, but also personally. But at 73, personally, there is nothing that is going to be kept quiet, and he's not even going to realize who it is that's going to expose him. So to bring back the USA, because of Trump's rhetoric about Kim Jong-un and Little Rocket Man and who's got the bigger buzzer, etc., America goes into lockdown. So from May, around the 4th of May of 2018, the restrictions around America internally are going to be enforced. It's a year of build, restore, it's manufacture, but it's on lockdown. So there's a lot of consolidating that's going to be taking place, but a lot of restrictions that are going to be happening. And then the most important thing to note is that the USA goes into its life path in 2019. So it'll also start in the May of 2019, and that is detriment to the USA. There is definitely something coming their way that he is instigating, that America is going to have a lot of internal problems. There's going to be deaths around in the USA. We've already seen some of the mass killings, etc., from people driving into people, people shooting people at music events. But this year, from July of 2018, for a period of 2 years, America is in detriment. And there could be some kind of militant issues, but it's from internal. So it's people that are born in the USA, or people that have come to the USA and have become citizens. But there is militant, military, and power issues that are going to be going on in the inside of the USA, which is not pleasant. So you can go back to 1929, the year adds to a 3. We go to 2001, September 11th, added to a 3. We go to the housing issue and the bank issue, which was 2010. That adds to a 3, and 2019 adds to a 3. So there's a lot of issues coming to the USA, and Trump is going to be the person who instigates and one of the causes and effects of some problems in the USA. Thank you for watching Sandy's Numerology.